Now, I want you to imagine this for a second. So, you wake up at 95, and guess what? You have no back pain, no daily pills that is lined up on your nightstand, no doctor appointments that is filling up your calendar. Well, this sounds like a fantasy, right? Because people are right now living these problems at 35. I mean, this is something that happens normally in old movies or best case scenario in your dreams. Well, it isn't. Because in some very real places on earth, this is normal life. These places are called blue zones. Now, these places are where people are easily living up to 100 years old. Yes, you heard it right, 100 years old. But how? So, what do these longest living humans actually eat every single day? What makes them so special, and why the heck aren't we living like them? Despite having literally more supplements, more apps, more gyms, more health food aisles that you see in the supermarket than ever before, more science and whatnot on our side. So, if you're ever caught into thinking that, wait, am I really going to take pills at 45, or will I be dancing by the time I'm 80? Then you are in the perfect place. So, what exactly are these blue zones? So, it sounds like a title from a Netflix sci fi series, but no, they are completely real, and their story is actually very, very, very fascinating. So, in the early 2000s, an explorer and a journalist named Dan Butner, he teamed up with scientists and demographers, and they had one simple mission: to find places on Earth where people naturally live the longest, healthiest lives. That means no hospitals packed with patients on life support, no medical drugs, no billionaire who's biohacking his body, just ordinary people living extraordinary long lives. And they studied decades of census data. They traveled to different villages, they sat at dinner tables, asked thousands of questions to people. And when they finally put all these regions on the world map, they circled it with a big blue marker. That's it. That's why we call them blue zones. So, where exactly are these magical places? Firstly, they are scattered all over the planet. Firstly, you have Okinawa, Japan, which is known for its graceful, smiling centenarians. You have Nicoya Peninsula, which is in Costa Rica, where elders still farm and walk daily. Then you have Sardinia, Italy, which is the home to the world's longest living men. You also have Ikaria, which is in Greece. It's the island where people really forget to die. And you have Loma Linda, which is in California, which is home to a community of Seventh day Adventists who live up to 10 years longer than the average Americans. Now, here's what blows my mind: these places are on different continents. They speak completely different languages, they follow different religions, they eat different traditional foods, and yet they all have something that leads them to having a longer, a healthier, more joyful lives. And they don't really just live that long, they really live well. Often working, laughing, they're dancing into their 90s and even hundreds. And most of them are centenarians. In short, people who have crossed 100. And this isn't rare news headlines, this is normal life there. And here's the crazy part: they are not rich, they don't have the latest health trackers, cold plunges, or even the supplements. Like if you just see Okinawa, Japan, women often live into their early 90s, with some of them reaching their hundreds, and they still host tea ceremonies with their friends. In Sardinia, Italy, men, yes, men who usually live shorter lives everywhere else, they reach their late 90s while still herding sheep up and down rocky hills. In Ikaria, Greece, almost one in three people live past 90, and diseases like dementia and even heart disease are practically unheard of till maybe very late in their life. And even in Nicoya, Costa Rica, they have one of the world's lowest rates of middle age mortality, meaning that fewer people die young. So more people live well till 90s and hundreds. And the ones which are the Loma Linda from California, well, they live 10 years longer than the average American, and then they spend most of their years healthy and not stuck in hospitals. And if you think even scientifically, it's not just a random accident, because even studies now show that 20 to 30% of your longevity is in your DNA, but the rest, which is about 70 to 80%, it comes from your daily choices, your habits, and even your lifestyle. And yes, food plays a very huge part, but it's not just what they eat. It's how, when, with whom, and why. So, the next obvious question that you might be wanting to ask is, what exactly do the world's longest living people eat every single day? Now, they eat $50 protein powders, they eat those all in one supplements, and even detox water. Well, I am also kidding because that's not what they eat. This is going to be quite surprising. Number one is that they eat beans. Black beans, lentils, chickpeas, soybeans, lots of beans. So every blue zone eats them almost daily. They're cheap, they're full of fiber and plant protein. And guess what? Eating 1 cup of just beans a day can add lots of years to your life. Number two is whole carbs. Yes, you heard it right. Carbs aren't the villain. Think of brown rice, corn, tortillas, barley, sourdough bread, purple sweet potatoes, which normally people in Okinawa really like. All that slow digesting, unrefined carbs, which are packed with nutrients and not your average packet noodles. Number three is mountains of vegetables and greens. Often local, seasonal, sometimes even grown right in their backyard. Not because it's trendy, but because that's what's around. Imagine you eating spinach that was grown in the soil this morning. Well, that is really normal for them. Number four is a handful of nuts. So it is walnuts, almonds, pistachios, and all the ones which are glazed in sugar. Just plain, perfect snack, which is great fats, and it keeps their heart ticking very happily. Number five is small amounts of animal food. So not daily, and definitely not the main thing, because in Sardinia, well, they do have a piece of sheep cheese. In Okinawa, they do have a bit of fish more as a flavor, but not as a main dish. And even in Ikaria, a splash of goat milk is something that they have. And number six is fermented food like your miso, natto, goat yogurt, which is great for your gut microbiome, which, by the way, directly affects your immunity, mood, and even your inflammation. And here's the fun part: fast food is rare, sugary drinks almost never. Dessert, if it's homemade or if it's occasional, they do have, but they are not obsessed with calories or macros. They are not living off protein shakes or superfood lattes that you see. They just eat food that looks like food. And the beautiful thing is that they enjoy it. They sit down, they slow down, they talk, they laugh, they share. And if you compare that with us, we are running down a sandwich while we're working over a laptop, barely even chewing. And with them, they are sitting down with friends, they are passing bread around, they're talking about the weather, laughing about what their grandkids are doing. So maybe the calories would be the same, maybe, but the same effect on health, well, not even close. So yes, the food matters, but it's also how they eat. They eat slowly, together, gratefully, and they stop before they are stuffed. In Okinawa, there is a saying which is called hara hachi bu, which means eat until you're 80% full. Now here's where it all gets interesting. They all don't eat the same dishes. Like Okinawans, they love purple sweet potatoes. Sardinians, they love to drink red wine. The Nicoyans, they swear by corn, tortillas, and squash. The Loma Linda from California, many people are completely vegetarian. But what's the common thread amongst them? It's not the exact food, it's more of the pattern. Mostly plants, real food, small portions of animal products, daily beans, and meals that feel like a ritual. And remember that they didn't read all of this in a blog. They learned it from their grandmothers, neighbors, and even tradition. They grew up maybe watching it, and all of this never stopped. So the question is that what else makes them live so long? Now, food is only one half of the recipe, and if it was just about what we eat, then every health conscious person with a salad bowl and a smoothie bottle would be living past 100. But honestly, we don't. So the question is, what is the other half? Number one is natural movement. Now, they don't exercise like the way we do. So it's not those 30-minute treadmill runs or those overpriced gym memberships. Instead, if you notice, they are in their gardens, they walk to their neighbor's house, they carry groceries without a car being parked at their doorstep, they sweep, they cook, they bend, they knead doors, they climb hills. The whole day is sprinkled with gentle movement, which is not about burning calories, but because life demands it. And science also shows that this keeps muscles strong, bones dense, and hearts young, even if they are in their 90s. Number two is stress breaks. Now, life throws stress at everyone, yes, even in the blue zones. But The only difference is that they take daily pauses. In Ikaria, it's afternoon naps. In Okinawa, it's a moment of gratitude before their meals. In Sardinia, it's teas or maybe a little bit of wine with friends, laughing about a lot of silly things here and there. So they don't wait for a vacation once a year. They build micro breaks every day. And science, well, it shows that chronic stress literally shortens telomeres, which are those little caps that protect your DNA from aging. Number three is strong social bonds. Now, here's something we are missing more than those scale smoothies. Now, in Okinawa, people belong to really tight circles, which they call as the moai. Now, they are a group of friends who check in, they help with money, they celebrate together, they even mourn together. In Sardinia, grandparents, parents, and even kids often live under the same roof. So, the concept of loneliness is almost none. And get this, being socially isolated can raise your risk of early death as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So, yes, real offline friendships might be the best longevity hack. Now, number four is purpose. Now, this one's really beautiful. Now, in Okinawa, they call it ikigai, which is your reason to get up every morning. In Nicoya, it's plan de vida. For some, it's like to tend to a garden. For others, it's teaching kids or volunteering or maybe cooking for family. Because purpose isn't about a big title or making millions of dollars. It's about having something, however small it is, but it makes you feel needed. And even studies show that if you have a clear purpose, it can add a good 7 extra years to your life. Number five is faith or spirituality. Now, it doesn't matter which religion or whether you call it God, universe, nature, anything. They gather weekly, pray, sing, reflect, and this gives them lower stress, stronger community ties, and hope during hard times. Gives them faith, it gives them gratitude and a lot of reflection. And these habits keep their minds lighter and even calmer. Now, number six is sleep and rest. Now, they don't wear busy like a badge. They rest without any guilt. Like in Ikaria, naps are a part of their daily life. In Okinawa, they sleep early and they wake up with the sun. They treat sleep like it's a medicine. And guess what? Better sleep repairs cells, it balances hormones, and it keeps your brain young. And if you see, this is so simple. But here's an uncomfortable question. If it's really that simple, then why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we dancing at 90s, gardening at 95? Why people in the urban areas are not doing anything close to this? In fact, we're doing quite the opposite. It's because our modern urban lives look nothing like theirs. Instead of hills and gardens, we have elevators and office chairs that we could sit for hours. Instead of the morning sun on our face, we have a laptop screen that is giving those fluorescent lights straight out there. Instead of family meals, we eat takeaways, we eat on the couch, we order food online, half watching reels. Instead of quiet tea breaks with neighbors or even with friends, we fill every of those pauses with emails, deadlines, and even notifications. What we don't understand is that our bodies haven't evolved to sit 8 to 10 hours a day. Our minds haven't evolved to handle those thousands of digital pings that you get before breakfast. And when it comes to our hearts, well, they are shrinking under stress and disconnection. Even if we have those thousands of friends online, we have more science, we have more supplements, we have more apps, we have more gyms, we have more superfoods than any generation in history. Yet we are more sicker, we are anxious, we are dying at a young age compared to our grandparents. How's that for ironic? And we all know it subtly because it's true in every sense. And yes, it is not entirely our fault because I know I stay in a city life pushes you this way, but it is our responsibility to see it and change what we can. No smartwatch, no organic kale or smoothie, no perfect workout plan can undo your chronic stress, your social isolation, your sleep debt, and living in your constant rush. That is why the blue zone centenarians don't really chase these hacks. They build lives that make healthy choices automatic. Walking isn't a workout for them. It's how they get to the neighbor's house, pretty much. Beans aren't like high fiber, they are what grandma always cooked. Naps aren't self care, they're just normal. And us, well, we live in a world where slow living feels like a rebellion and where it's easier to order dinner than to call a friend. But there is also good news that you don't have to move to Okinawa to make the change, but You don't have to also quit your job and live in a mountain. All you need to do is just borrow a few habits, and that's exactly what we are going to do next. So, tip number one is firstly, eat like your grandma, not an influencer. Add 1 cup of beans or dal every day. Fill half of your plate with vegetables. It doesn't have to be organic or very fancy. Make nuts your snack, not biscuits. Consume least amount of animal products. It's not the main event. Treat it as a side thing. It's not high protein, it's not high carb, it's not a keto diet. It's just real food that existed before a barcode. So try to consume real food. Tip number two is move but make it invisible. Don't save all that movement for a sweaty 1 hour gym workout. Maybe walk to buy milk, use stairs, stretch during meetings, dance while cooking. Think of slow drip movement all day long. Your body cares about total daily movement than perfect workouts. Tip number three is create a phone free meal. Even if it's just dinner, try to avoid screens, no scrolling, chew slowly, taste, talk, laugh, even if it's just with yourself. Turns out that digestion literally works better when you're calm. Tip number four is build your own moai. Now, it doesn't have to be 50 friends, just 2 to 3 real people you can call when you're sad, you're broke, or even bored. Or you can just schedule regular coffee walks or even calls with them. Don't wait for someone's birthday and then give them a call. Tip number five is find your mini purpose. Now, no need to change the world, maybe, but try to grow maybe herbs near your window, teach a friend a little bit of how to dance, volunteer to some place maybe once a month for something, because purpose is anything that makes you feel needed. So just try for it. Tip number six is daily stress pause. Not a 2 hour yoga retreat, just 5 slow breaths, maybe between your meetings that you have. You can just have a cup of tea, watching the sky, not really scrolling through Instagram, maybe a gratitude thought, or maybe just pause before you go to sleep, because tiny pauses like this compounds into keeping your hormones calm. Tip number 7 is treat sleep like it's a meeting with your future self. Make sure you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, dim the lights, screens off, wake up actually rested and not just caffeinated. Tip number 8 is add faith or reflection. Now, it doesn't matter, as I said earlier, on who you pray to or what you pray, but anything, whether it's prayer, meditation, journaling, quiet gratitude, something daily that says that life is bigger than my to do list. Tip number 9 is stack and don't swap. Don't throw your whole life upside down. Try to layer new habits into the old ones. For example, if you have a meeting, then just try to walk during those phone meetings. You can cook once, but you can eat that meal twice. Understand that habits stick better when they piggyback onto something that you already do. And tip number 10, you need to remember that it's a pattern and not perfection. Now, Blue Zone people, they aren't really perfect. They eat cakes at weddings and they skip walks when it rains, but the default that they are in is healthy, and the exceptions stay exceptions. And the bottom line is that you don't need to copy them exactly. You just need to make your everyday default a little more slow, a little more real, more connected, a little more joyful. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about living till 100, it's about what those extra years of life actually look like. And trust me, no one really wants to live long and be sick. And longevity isn't about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to years. So here's my question to you: which one tiny habit are you going to borrow from them? I mean, not all 10, but just one. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. And until we meet again next, don't stress and be awesome. Rocher that.